Hi everyone, my name is Yongzhe Song. I'm currently a senior data scientist at Humana. Today, I will give you a short presentation about identifying levers among individuals with social determinants of health. So for today's presentation consists two use cases. One is for social isolation or loneliness, and the other is for food insecurity. Generally speaking, the ultimate goal is to group the members with experiencing with social determinants of health into different segments so we can understand the discrepancies of the members' profile so we can tailor our interventions to specific needs. So for loneliness segmentation, it's really performed at a manner of luck, since the initial goal is to identify the drivers for health-related quality of life rather than grouping members into segments. So during the data collection process, a random sample of Medicare Advantage individuals were surveyed by a telephonic call. And in that survey, we collected the total health state information and also the loneliness status. So based on the survey responses, we classify our members into three groups. One is for not lonely, the other is for moderate lonely, and the last for severely lonely. So besides the survey responses, we also incorporated other data like enrollment data, demographic data, and also claims data. And all of this data were collected in the year prior to the survey date. And finally, the data set is combined with around 1,000 variables from different data sources. So during the feature reduction process, we built a random forest. And finally, there was around 18 features were identified and used to generate a final decision tree. And that final decision tree was trained on 50% of the data, and the remaining 50% of the data we were using as a validation set. So the final tree was used to identify the salient clusters. So for results, the final population included around 9,000 respondents, and over 1/3 of the respondent reporting be lonely or severe lonely. So there are total 10 clusters were identified, and as you see, loneliness was the most important differentiator in driving the unhealthy day. And severe loneliness is the second most important features identified. So you will see in the diagram, under the severe lonely group, we also identify three separate clusters. One is for no antidepressant filled during last 6 months, and the other is less than 4 opioids filled during the last 6 months, and also for 4+ opioids fills during the last 6 months. And also we identified extra 7 clusters for not severe lonely group. So after we implemented this loneliness segmentation work, we have collaborated with a Florida-based vendor to launch a pilot specifically targeting at the number 7 cluster. So the goal for that pilot is to match the college student with our Medicare Advantage members to provide some companionship or house help or technology education or any other type of general assistance. So based on our analysis, so most of the participants give us a really good feedback, and they do mention that they feel they are supported. And also a statistical analysis result showed that the health-related quality of life among those participants were improved during that time. So let's talk about food insecurity. So for food insecurity segmentation during data collection, we were also issued a telephonic survey, and that telephonic survey included the hunger vital sign to item screener for food insecurity. So the screener measured 2 aspects of food insecurity in the previous 12 months. So besides for that survey responses, we also incorporate other data sources like demographic, third-party economic information, or medical claims, pharmacy claims, and lab results, and any other enrollment data. And all of this data were extracted as features in our cluster analysis. So we have been used k-means, bisecting k-means, and Gaussian mixture models as a modeling approach, but finally k-means were selected as the final clustering model, and the optimal number of clusters were selected by evaluating the elbow method. So you will see among final around 13,000 respondents, 30% of the individual reported food insecurity. So we performed unsupervised learning technique on this 3.8 thousand food insecurity positive members. So we finally identified 7 clusters. First, very chronic unhealthy. That means members with high prevalence of conditions and high comorbidity score. And second cluster is moderately unhealthy with depression. So those members were diagnosed with depression and they had a moderate comorbidity score. For the third cluster is really similar as the second one, but the difference is they had no history of depression diagnosis. The fourth one is for behavioral health, a severe mental illness, bipolar disorder. So those members had diagnosis with bipolar disorder. So we also identify 3 other clusters that are based on the Conti level. So such as the 5th cluster, food desert communities. So that means those members living in a food desert communities. And we also have 6 and 7 better access communities and high rural density communities. So currently, we are still working on to matching our existing interventions with this specific food insecurity segmentation. So I don't have any results to share today. So this is pretty much it for today's presentation. Thank you for joining in today's presentation with me. If you have any questions, feel free to reach out to me at yzone@humana.com. Thank you.